I don't know if y'all saw that interview with Cam Newton with Dr. Bryant. If you haven't, y'all go catch the interview, because what she does is describe with a high functioning woman and a high functioning man versus low value woman, low value man. And if you didn't watch it, let me summarize it for you here, because what we're going to talk about in this video is how do you become a high functioning woman? Now, in the video, Dr. Bryant says about 70% of women are low functioning, whereas compared to men, about 40% of men are low functioning men. I thought that was interesting, right? I used to be in that 70% of being a low functioning woman. Now, I took some notes. So she said that a high functioning woman, she wants you. She doesn't need you. And I don't need no man. I'm independent. I can pay my own bills. She clearly said that is not what she was talking about. She doesn't need you. She's not codependent. And we hear that a lot in anxious attachment styles, right? They become codependent. This woman is not codependent. Like, they legit know how to communicate their boundaries. They know how to express them, but they know how to honor them. I see a lot of people not knowing how to communicate their boundaries. They will have boundaries, but y'all not communicating them. You might as well not have them if you're not going to communicate them. Low functioning people are probably going to be the ones who do a lot of knee-jerk reaction. 70% of women are out here, y'all out here saying whatever comes to mind. Y'all are out here ruining relationships by being low functioning. So how do you go from low functioning to high functioning? I was very low functioning, y'all, very. Anytime that I would get upset, it didn't matter what it was, I would immediately react. And that reaction always came with my slick mouth, my nasty attitude, and me waving my finger and me doing all kinds of things, because you were going to hear my mouth whether you liked it or not. I was very reactionary, and then my mouth was so terrible that I would literally go for the jugular. I would try to kill somebody with my tongue. I finally learned through my marriage, like, that was a terrible way to communicate. It never resolved not one single disagreement, not one argument. If anything, it made things go from bad to much worse. The first thing I learned to do was I learned how to shut the F up. This was the hardest thing for me because my mouth was always running. Even when I was dating after my divorce, and I went on a few hundred dates with a few hundred men. Even when I was dating, the most common feedback that I got from people, men, was that your mouth. So for me to actually learn how to shut my mouth was key. When you are very low functioning, you always have a point. You always want to get your point across. It doesn't matter. You want to get your point across. You want to have the last word. I'm going to say what I got to say and you're going to hear it, right? I finally learned that I never got any resolution doing that. So I finally learned how to shut my MF mouth. But I didn't just shut my mouth and internalize things. That's a difference. Then the second thing is, y'all, you have to remove yourself from the situation, whether that's a phone call, and I don't mean just abruptly hang up. Let me get back to you in a few minutes or tomorrow, because let me just think about some things. I'm pretty sure that will go over much better than you cussing them out, you saying something that you ultimately will regret. You have to de-escalate yourself before you say something out your mouth just for the sake of talking. I started having conversations with myself, not with your girlfriends, not with so-and-so, but with yourself first and foremost. I always ask myself, did I hear what I thought I heard? Did I see what I thought I saw? Did I misinterpret whatever the situation was? Once you do that, the main question that I found that I have to analyze. And this, if you are coming up with the answer like this, you're not analyzing yourself correctly. You're not going inward and processing what happened correctly. You have to ask yourself, what am I really upset about? What part of what happened is triggering me? This processing of the situation, your emotions, this needs to take you some time. Sometimes, I'm not even gonna lie, sometimes this is taking me a week. Am I arguing with my partner during that whole week? Nope. No, I'm just quiet. I'm not arguing. I'm not beefing. I'm not doing any of those things. I legitimately am processing. It's a lot of why. But why? Because you need to analyze that. You know why? Because you need to be able to communicate that. The emotional regulation is key. Going inward and evaluating the situation before you just react, because if you're reacting, you have no emotional regulation. You might as well give them the puppet strings, because they do something, they lift your arm up this way, then your arm reacts and goes up. That's reactionary. So you might as well give somebody the puppet strings to you because that's all you're doing. Nobody should have the power to control your emotions and your actions. Somebody says, oh, well, he cheated on me with so and so. Instead of removing yourself from the situation, the low functioning woman is going to, well, I went and slept. That's why I went to sleep with his best friend. That's very low functioning, very low vibrational, just low class acting, period. Nobody has the right to choose your reaction. I tell my oldest son this all the time because, he has an ex that unfortunately is just not a great person, right? But as long as you keep reacting to somebody's BS, then they will control you. It is imperative for you to stop reacting to everything they do. Accept them for who they are. They are who they are. Why are they surprising you with their behavior? Why are you reacting every time they do something when you know that's who they've been? That's who they've always been. I'm not surprised in her behavior, right? Because she is who she is. When somebody shows you who they are and they've shown you a pattern repeatedly, you have to make that choice if this is somebody you want to continue to be around because they're constantly triggering you. If they're always triggering you, then why are you with them? Learn how to enjoy your own company. Learn how to be single. Because if you never learn how to be single, you will never learn what it's like to be a high functioning woman or man. Another thing that she described is what high functioning people do. They know how to communicate their issues. They know how to communicate them in such a way that it disarms the other person. You have to want to resolve whatever the issue is and not come from a place of, I have to be right. I'm a huge proponent of proper time, proper place. The way you bring it up, remember, you're coming from a place of love. You're going to immediately disarm them by not being defensive. You're going to communicate whatever's bothering you. Not if you would just do this and if you would do that and if you wouldn't do this and I wouldn't feel like this. Because they did X and Y, now it's calls you to do A and B. No, you're not a puppet. Nobody's making you do anything. So you have to accept the responsibility of, you know what? Why did you react that way? Why did you feel that way? You need to own up to it and you have to communicate it in such a way that your partner can understand. Now, if you continue to have these conversations and your partner never understands your point of view and they never try to hear you out, then you need to ask yourself, is this the partner for you? Because the more you become high functioning, if you're low functioning, and the more you become high functioning and you're dealing with somebody who's low functioning, you're definitely going to outgrow that relationship. Hopefully these tips will get you out of being one of those 70%, as she quoted, low functioning women, because if you want that vulnerability and if you want that love and you want that healthy relationship, you are going to have to learn how to become high functioning. And it's okay if you're healing. And the goal is to not be perfect. The goal is to have a healthy, balanced relationship.